That's right. We're muted. Hello. Hi. We're not muted anymore. Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
What's up,
Hello.
What's up?
Thank you to Snowtoe for recognizing why we have an intro. It's because we have ads, and a lot of people were telling me that even though we were doing introductions, they'd be missing them because of ads. So hopefully the intro was okay, and we've got around the issue. Samson with the $2 donation saying, I think he's saying he loves the intro. Let's go full crew. Hello, mate. Thank you. Yeah. We've got everyone. We've got everyone.
Welcome back. Oh, no, wait, I was gone. Sorry.
Yeah, no, welcome back.
Welcome back, Mash.
Yeah.
So today, from the introductions, I'm going to start, yes, with Cyber Brad and ask him, what is he playing at the moment?
Hi. I'm very high. Sorry for that delayed high.
You're very high?
He's very high.
Yes, very high. You're
Actually,
very
no,
high.
don't play into
Sweet.
this. Don't play into this. Oh.
So I was actually like almost kind of late to this because the game that I've been wanting a VR mod for like probably since I got into VR has finally actually come out, and I just want to keep playing Portal 2 in VR because it's just, I don't know. I've always wanted to see if I would get sick playing it. And so far, it's been good and it's been fun. So
yeah, I wanted to get a little bit sick. Like there was like a, where am I? I can't remember where I am now, but there is some really big jumps happening, and it kind of feels like it tilts you sometimes where you land. But I'm not getting any sickness at all, and I don't know how. I don't know why that's not happening. I thought it would have.
Have you guys set up that infinite portal loop where you just keep falling through like faster and faster and faster and faster?
Not yet, because we was going to do something like that, messing around, but co-op isn't working at the moment in the mod. So with co-op, you could probably mess around with that stuff. Like,
There's also a scene in Portal 2 where there's like this chasm that you drop down and you fall for like 5 minutes. Like you're like continuously falling. It's pretty awesome. I haven't done it in VR yet, but I cannot wait.
yeah, it's a fantastic mod. It really is. It's so good, and it feels
Portal
so
2,
natural.
Portal 1 and Portal 2 are both incredible games. They are so good. Like, you know, obviously the primary gameplay mechanics of the portals is kind of unique and very, very well executed, but also just like the universe that they have crafted in Portal and like the villains and the vibe, you know, there's this like really like kind of creepy yet funny thing happening, and the music that, oh my God, I can't say enough about Portal. It's so awesome. I cannot wait to play it.
So how much of this though, and be honest and try to, you know, reset let's get to an even kill here. How much of the excitement around this is driven by nostalgia, and how much is driven by it being, a concept that holds up, it's timeless and always meant to be played in VR? Because the reason I ask is because I've never played Portal and I have no emotional attachment to it. Whenever I see footage of it, it looks bland and empty and colorless and lifeless.
See,
So is this something that's going to be for me, or is this just something that's going to be for fanboys?
So the only thing I could jump in and quickly say is I wasn't that bothered about this mod when I saw it announced. I was like, oh, cool. I played the first one. There was also one in Bone Labs or Boneworks. Oh, no, Half-Life Alyx. There was a Portal in there, but it wasn't exactly the same. It was very good. But I completed the original Portal with Orange Box, which would have been many years ago on the Xbox. And yeah, when I heard about Portal 2, I was like, I'm fine. I'm not really that interested. And Mike was like, do you want to try co-op? And it didn't work. So I was like, meh. And then I spoke to him today and he was like, oh, dude, I had the best time yesterday playing Portal 2. And I was like, why? Like, what? Like, is it really, really that much better than the first time? And he was like, yeah, it's really good. And I got in there, and not only does the game look definitely better than the first one, it actually looks as good as some of the best VR today, funny enough, I think, in some of the details. But the actual, yeah, someone puts it there from my video, Mr. Tasselhoff, the banter is amazing. Like, there's a really quite famous English comedian, you might know him as Stephen Merchant. He voices like one of the main characters in this one, and the dialogue between him and her, and she's back again from like the main baddie from the first one and stuff. It's just excellent. Like, it's a really cool adventure, but it is only if you really like puzzles. Like, it is a pure puzzle game with a narrative.
I do.
It
Just so happens that I do. I do like puzzles.
It's really
it is
good,
a pure,
Wes.
but the narrative is like rich. It's like
Yeah.
dripping rich. And
Yeah.
like you were saying, like the dialogue and the voice acting is spot on. Like
Yeah.
I have no nostalgia for Portal 2. I did play Portal 1, like, I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago, but Portal 2 I played for the very first time this year. So this is coming from like a new playthrough that I was absolutely blown away by the game.
Right.
It is fantastic. I cannot wait to do it in VR West. But for the love of God, get in there.
I'm in the same boat with Wes. I've never played this game. I was never into the Portal thing, and I never got into it, so it wasn't even a thought for me. But if I'm going to get into it, I want to get into it in VR. Like, if I'm going to do
Yeah.
it for the first time ever, let me do it in a freaking VR headset, man. So I definitely will do it. I'm excited to do it because there are so many people excited for it. So, like, everybody else's hype has gotten me excited for it, where I never was before. So I'm down.
I don't like puzzle games, and so I'm part of me just doesn't want to go into it. It looks really boring to me. Just the whole mechanics of it. I'm like with Wes. I don't see the appeal. I don't. But I mean, I could be wrong. I didn't
Try
play any
it.
of this shit. Well, I'm gonna have to for the
Try
fucking
it.
It's so
show,
cheap,
unfortunately.
dude. It's like 87.
Yeah.
Well, I own it. I bought it
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago. I went into it flat for like an hour or something, and I don't know. It's well, I'll try it, but I just don't know that. I think it's more nostalgia than you guys would probably admit, but it's probably not that anywhere near what I would think.
So
You know what I mean? There's got to be some nostalgia in there. There has to be.
I personally don't think so. Like, puzzles are a thing, but it's like physics. Like, it's like physics puzzles, which is, I think, a little bit different than like a regular traditional puzzle game. Like
It's like it's like a Half-Life puzzle or Boneworks puzzles typically work in that way as well, right?
yeah, it's like the portals are really cool. Like, it's really, really fun to like go through them and like put stuff through them and like see what you can do with the physics that exist there. So it's like, yes, you're figuring out puzzles, but also when all of a sudden you try something and something crazy happens, or you're like, spraying a goo from this room into this room and it's splattering all over the walls.
Yeah.
There's just like this like physicsness that has this novelty to it that is like, honestly, like, I think like really easy to like, just by if you're a human,
That's where I was so excited though to do co-op, because the game itself, like, now I feel silly now, like now I've played it again, but originally I was a bit like, I'm not really that excited, but I'll definitely play it in co-op, and it didn't work, and that's why I just didn't bother recording. And then today I was like, oh my god, this is actually amazing. Like, this is so good.
So let me ask you, GT, what do we do first? We're going to cover it obviously on Virtual Strangers in our own time as we typically do. What do I do first? Do I do Portal 2 VR mod or do I do Far Cry 6 VR mod?
Have they both got see, Portal 2 as well, technically? Like I didn't really realize I know you were a human in the first one, but I can't remember ever seeing her. I just remember seeing the portal gun. I don't remember seeing the character. As Portal 2, you fully realize you're a woman and you've got like these leg braces so you can take jumps and shit, and you don't have any arms ever. That's the other thing. When you start the game, you don't have any arms. You still got to press a button to make a button move until you get the portal gun. Then it feels like you're in control. In Far Cry 6, I'm assuming it is full motion controls, like 6 DoF?
No, it's not. But to be honest, for me and Roots, and I think even Eric as well, I don't really care about that. I want to know, I want to be in an amazing game. And if that means an amazing game that I'm playing with a gamepad or an amazing game I'm playing with full motion controls, that is secondary to me. What I want is a full-fledged AAA game that I can be inside of through the magic of VR.
Well, Brand VR says non-Valve fans just don't get it. Well, isn't that kind of the point we're saying?
What I was asking. That's what I was asking.
And I'm saying that's bullshit. I do not agree with that at all. Like, bury that idea. Guys, for the love of God, just try the game.
Well, no,
like,
yeah,
you're
I would
gonna
hope so
love it.
because
You're
if you
gonna
have to
love
be
it.
a Valve, if you have to be a Valve fan to play it, then the game's not that good. You know what I mean? I should just be a fan of gaming and want to play it.
No,
You
the
don't.
reason there are Valve fans is because every time Valve puts out a game, it's gold.
Snaps.
Gold, Jerry, gold.
Yeah. And here's another thing too about Portal 2 that I really did not expect, that I was completely blown away by. There is co-op, right? The co-op campaign is entirely separate from the single player campaign. There is an entire single player campaign and an entire co-op campaign, and they're both fantastic.
Yeah,
That's a big plus.
Yeah,
plus.
I like. So I mean, with nostalgia terms, Far Cry was one of 3 games I bought an entire PC for back in the day. So like the original Far Cry for me, when that mod come out, I did lose my shit. I was like, wow, I want to try this. Far Cry 6, I'm not like, I know I bet the game looks amazing, but if is it a Luke Ross? It is a Luke Ross, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like with the Luke Ross one, same as when you play Cyberpunk, I think you get some frame drops. You get some. There's a certain level of. I guess
it's hit and miss.
It's hit and miss.
Hit and miss.
Portal isn't. Yeah. Portal 2 isn't hit, or it's a hit. Like it feels almost like a native VR game, but a very good looking one.
I've just almost done with Uncharted 4 with the Luke Ross mod, and it's probably one of the best games I've ever played in VR. Same thing I'd say for Red Dead 2. You know, like, and these are with regular controllers, not touch controllers. Yeah. I've been so immersed. The story, the gameplay, everything about, especially Uncharted 4 is phenomenal. My biggest thing is what makes me not that excited about this game is I don't like puzzles. I don't like puzzle games in VR. I don't. So looking at, as everyone say, oh, it's puzzles.
Yeah, it's physics puzzles. I guess there's different puzzles, isn't there? There's different styles.
I feel like I'll go in there and I'll think it's cool. I'll play it for an hour or two, and I guarantee that's probably where I'll stop. Maybe I'll be so wowed by it. But I think that if you're not a puzzle fan, is that going to blow people away? If you don't like puzzles, is this game magic?
I'm the same way as you, Roots, but I think what Alex is saying, I'm hopeful for me is the narrative will help pull me through, because I'm okay with puzzles if I have a story or something. Like, don't give me puzzles for puzzle's sake, to where it just feels like I'm just going from one puzzle to the next for no rhyme or reason other than to go to the next puzzle. But if you give me a good story behind it, to where I feel like I'm accomplishing something or getting somewhere, just like Wanderer did, okay, then I'm all on board. Then the puzzles make sense to me.
Yeah.
In that
yeah,
point.
that's a good shout, actually, Eric. Yeah. What's the Talos Principle? Is it Talos Principle?
Yeah.
That game I tried to like, right? But because I didn't feel compelled to keep playing it, and I couldn't figure out why, other than doing puzzles for puzzle's sake, as this, you feel like you're part of an adventure at the same time as doing puzzles. If that helps.
Sounds great. That's what I need. And for what it's worth, Roots, I think these types of puzzles, these physical puzzles, are the ones that you typically do like over the more cryptic kind of mental puzzles that we sometimes see in these games.
Yeah.
I don't like puzzle games generally. They usually bore me, and I usually nope out of them within an hour or two. Portal rocked. I even had some issues with the Red Matter games because it was mostly all puzzles, and I just kind of get bored.
See, I found Red Matter 2 was
Yep.
was more
Yeah.
entertaining
Yep.
puzzler
Yep.
than the first Red Matter. Red Matter was definitely more focused on puzzles in that way, over the narrative and over the adventure. So yeah, Red Matter 2 nailed it, I think, actually.
Yeah, Red Matter 2 is really good, and the further you get into it, the better it gets too. It gets even further and further away from puzzles and more into other aspects of the gameplay. I really like Red Matter 2 a lot.
Puzzles are so tricky in VR. Like we've had talks with like Andrew Ike from Alchemy Labs about puzzle games and what makes a good puzzle game and why some puzzle games don't make it. And it's just all about friction with puzzle games. Like you can't do certain things flat that you do in a VR headset because your friction level in a VR headset is too high. Like it's just too easy to pull the VR headset off and say, no, I'm done. I'm getting out of the headset. Where if you're flat, you can be sitting there, trying to, think about a puzzle. You could be, eating popcorn and drinking soda. When you're in a headset, you're in the headset and you're stuck. And if you get frustrated, you're going to nope out really easy. So I think it's a really fine line between what frustrates you as a puzzle game and what can like challenge you and pull you through. So I think even the developers have a tough time with this.
So, in conclusion, Brad, you're digging it, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's good. A really good VR mod. If people like the Half-Life 2 VR mod, same level of quality already, in my opinion. Going back to nostalgia, because I do want to add one last note to that. I played all the Half-Life games before I played the Portal games, and for me, I like the Portal games more than Half-Life games. Which,
What?
yeah,
What?
Big words. Those
Wow.
are big words.
What the fuck?
Portal is dope. Like you can't say too much about it without giving away some of like the best parts of it, in my opinion. But I'm pretty sure, and this is worth mentioning too, the mod is free. The game on Steam right now, I think I saw a post from Mike saying that
it's like
it's
80p.
$1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85 pence.
I just bought
Are
it for
you
99.
kidding
I just
me?
bought it for 99 cents just now.
Yeah.
when we were
It's
talking about
$1, y'all. Like drop $1, buy Portal 2, install this mod, and take this for a spin. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about it next week.
Well,
I-
Brad's got me thinking. Maybe if he's saying it's better than Half-Life, then maybe I will like it.
I mean, it's really cool as well, because then we're talking about with obviously potentially Valve's console and their headset and stuff, and if these mods work, what an amazing library of stuff people are going to have so quickly. Like,
Do you think this will get the automatic, I guess, be able to be downloaded, or is it already like the other mod that Half-Life 2 is, where you can download it through Steam? Or is this different?
This is not going to happen for this one. That was a very long process over years with Valve's collaboration, and this is pretty much from a dude.
That would be. That's where I want to get. I want to get to where these mods are that easy to download. Really, then that'll be streamlined. These mods, right?
Oh yeah,
that would be cool.
Pull my hair out. But it's funny. We just talked about the new Valve headset, which I am obviously super stoked for. I know Brad is. I've been every headset that shows up to my house, I'm like, please let this be the one that gets me away from my index. And so far, nothing has. So I'm really stoked for whatever the deck it's going to be. But at the same time, no one really talks about like if Valve has a new console / headset coming out, do you think there's any way they're going to do this without also having a game in development? Like, I can't imagine that they don't have a Left 4 Dead or a or a Portal or a something in development, one of their IPs for this new headset. And that is, to me, almost as exciting as this whole headset, right?
Half-Life 3
Confirmed.
only in VR.
If it wasn't some sort of like new game, it would be some sort of VR software that would introduce you to the headset, I reckon, in that world. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a demo, maybe. That'd be cool.
The Index Cloudhead Games came out with a Portal universe game to introduce you to the finger tracking in the Index controllers, which was really cool.
Yeah.
It was Aperture Lab. Was that what it was?
Yeah, that is so cool, dude.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is
And
really
Portal
cool.
takes place in this world. Like
Yeah.
Aperture Science is
That's
the
right.
company that's conducting all of this stuff. So there's another little thing for you.
Yeah,
Little
man.
nugget.
I remember making a video on that. That was amazing.
Yep. And Aperture Science is the competing science company to Black Mesa from Half-Life.
Damn, bro. I didn't know that.
Yep. So like all of that stuff lives in the same universe.
That is so cool.
Hell yeah.
That is so cool.
Half-Life 3, the original story for Half-Life 3 that doesn't exist now. It was going to be all about going to a space-time warping boat that Aperture Science created. So it would have even connected those two games even more. Anyway.
Damn,
on
bro. So yeah, I mean, either way, like VR mods are going strong, you know, which is so good to see. And yeah, if you don't already, make sure you jump into the Flat Screen to VR Discord. If anyone's looking for a link, let me know. If anyone could chuck a link in the chat, that'd be awesome.
I got you.
Yeah, cheers, dude. I mean, they're doing great stuff over there, and I don't know, man. I kind of thought everyone talks about PCVR being dead and stuff, and I don't know. When you play games like I did today, you kind of think it doesn't feel like that. It feels again like a wow factor that you get right now on anything else that's quite current. And this game's 11 years old, I think. Is it 11 years old?
You can't get that on any current VR game. Nothing has the depth of any game that they've poured millions of dollars into. And so you're going to get this with every amazing AAA game as it comes out. And it makes it, for me, it's hard to play a lot of the games that are built from the ground up, even though they should be better. The content's not better. The stories aren't better. The production value is not better. And so like, I'd rather be in an Uncharted 4. And so, yeah, it's a weird place to be in right now, I think, in VR. For me anyway.
I feel you, man. I reckon it'll get better. You know,
Biggity Bam gifting 10 VR CruCast memberships.
Nice.
Thank you ever so much, dude. Did Brad get one?
Brad took two.
He got all of them. He took all 10.
Dude. So let's talk about some releases of this week. What did we get? We got Alvo. I'd like to discuss Alvo for a quick minute if possible, because I've seen actually an overall positive reception for it, which was quite nice. And I think the timing of that game couldn't have been better for when it dropped. Like,
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So yeah, boys, what do you think about Alvo at the moment?
It's pretty damn good. I will say right up front that Steva, Wes and I are the PR marketing firm for Alvo.
Chills.
So just so everybody knows that up front, but and we had a lot of input into the timing of the dropping of that game. We talked about it a lot. That we knew that there was some things coming. We wanted to change it to this way or that way, but I think Alvo was a really good, fun game that I think really got a lot of help because Firewall did not have the launch that they wanted to. And, instead of Alvo kind of getting lost in the Crossfire Sierra Squad, Firewall Ultra wash, that it got a chance to stand on its own a little bit. And it is a fun game. And if you want to get in there and have a lot, if you want fast-paced gameplay, Alvo's fun. They do a really good job of making it quick and fast, and it is the closest thing for me to Call of Duty. And I was a Call of Duty player. I was a Warzone player. When Warzone first came out, I played it every day with my nephews during COVID time, for over a year. And Alvo gives me that same feeling, especially with the sliding and the jump and the perks that you can get and the kill streaks. It's really good.
It was interesting because someone said to me, they went, "Oh, like Reddit likes Alvo," and you can imagine everyone going, "Yeah!" Like if Reddit likes it, it's passed the it's got the certificate.
Well, I mean, it's got a very unique origin story, as that game pretty much came from Reddit. It was a game that initially had some backing. That was developed by a very small team.
I remember the original trailer as well. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I do too. Frank put it out there really early on in my VR journey.
Yeah.
But it died. it died. Money dried up before it was even near complete, and the game died. And word of its death spread quickly throughout Reddit, specifically the PSVR Reddit. And from there, Steve picked it up, put some of his own coin into it, and it was revived through Reddit, through the PSVR community. So I feel like a lot of the kind of goodwill that we're seeing go toward Alvo right now, and especially on Reddit, comes because of that. People know the story of this game, and the fact that against all odds, here we are in 2023, still talking about Alvo, still in development in many ways,
Yeah.
but going strong.
I had not heard that story. That's the first I've
Oh,
heard of
really?
that. And honestly, I think that's pretty important. I think that's important for people to know, because I've had a bad taste in my mouth from Alvo and I guess maybe this is my fault for having like really high expectations, but like when I was a Firewall player on PlayStation VR 1, I was so hyped for Alvo to come out on PlayStation VR, because they were talking about having, this like game that you can squad up with your friends that's cross-platform, including PlayStation VR. So I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. PC VR, PlayStation VR, and Quest users are all going to be able to play together. And I just like sat and waited 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 and waited. And Alvo just like didn't happen and never came. And I didn't know why. So it's kind of nice to hear the story, because it like gives me a little bit of like, I don't know, like some more hope and maybe a little bit of a
Context.
renewed, some context and a renewed interest in maybe taking it for a spin.
Steve,
You're gonna love it,
his
Alex.
Yeah,
put
it
it
is good fun.
but also hit up his friends, his family, his cousins, his like all the people in his family. And he's like, "Yo, need to borrow some money," and really like made it personal, man, and really took that game that he was excited for and did everything he could to make it a reality. So it's it really is a cool story.
Yeah,
and it's not perfect though, right? I mean, they know it's not perfect. So there
Yeah.
is issues, but they're working on them. Like they like today, even today, right now, they have a good roadmap and they're still working on them, and it'll be even better 2 months from now.
he said, what did he say to me? I've lost myself because people are buying memberships. Thank you ever so
I know,
much.
like crazy. Holy crap.
Thank you very much. So basically, a membership is just to show that you're here and you're part of this crew. You're in the chat and stuff, and you got your logo, and it's that. I mean, that's all it ever really was. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you guys want me to try and make it something more, I definitely can. But yeah, the idea of the podcast being once a week is because literally everyone on this podcast is fully, nearly full-time in VR in some way or another, and time is just hard. It's really hard to make time, and every single Monday, like I think it's going away now, because as time moves on towards Christmas and stuff, VR gets a lot more exciting. There's a lot more to talk about. We were rocking up on Mondays like, I nearly didn't make it. I'm so tired. But as soon as you get going, it's like, yeah. But I'm starting to lose that now. I'm starting to get really excited to get on the show and talk about it. But back to Alvo quickly. He said to me that sales have also now started to increase on the Quest, as well as like the word goes out, the game has been improved. And if you're looking for a zombie game as well, if you like zombie survival, it's pretty damn good. Like,
Fun.
again, the zombies aren't fantastically animated. It doesn't look incredible, but it's bloody good fun. It really is.
It's fun. It's fun for a while. I would like to see them kind of expand that mode beyond that one map.
Yeah.
I'd like to see zombies hit some other maps, because zombies is really fun until you figure out where the extraction point is,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a lot easier. But
Yeah.
it is good. And one of my favorite things about Alvo is the variety of gameplay. There's so many different diverse gameplay modes. There's a ton of weapons and progression.
Kill streaks.
That's what I like about Alvo. It does so many things that you don't typically see in VR multiplayer shooter.
Yep. Agreed. So you boys are enjoying it, yeah? No one's got any like everyone's happy with this. No one's going to go, do you know what I want to say about Alvo?
For the most part, it obviously is still a work in progress, but for what it's worth, I mean, it's Alvo, right? It's the same Alvo that it always has been, only now everything's a little bit more crisp and clear. You have a little bit more of a tactile feel for it. All of the things that make PSVR 2 what it is, kind of lightly season the Alvo recipe, so to speak.
I will say though, if you haven't been in the Alvo like since it launched originally, or even launched originally on the Quest, it's been updated a lot. They put a lot into it. They've added maps into it. They changed the reload system. People had a problem with the reload system. They changed that. They changed some of the UI. They changed some of the matchmaking in it. They added a couple of different types of matches that you can do. So if you were like, I tried Alvo early on and it just wasn't for me, or I didn't have enough, or I didn't like it, I would give it a try again. Like if you already own it, just go re-download it again. Or if you own it on PlayStation VR 1, it's a $5 upgrade to get it on PlayStation VR 2.
Nice, dude. And
Try
we've
it
got
out.
a donation of £5 from Parasite, 82 grain. What sort of game would us VR heads end up with if all the CruCast combined their ideas and their vision of a VR game?
Oh man,
That would be a freaky game.
I don't know, because it sounds like we've got very different tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would probably be hard for us to land on something.
Yeah.
Probably.
See,
Yeah.
I would be doing this like super creepy psychological horror game that's going to scar people for life, and gamer tag would be power washing.
No,
Exciting.
no, I
And
wouldn't.
it would all be in an RPG, an MMO
No.
RPG world that Alex and I have designed for you guys to a horror MMO, right? There's no such thing that exists.
Mine would be about smacking people in the face in a championship.
No,
Slap
Smashes
championship.
Smashes
done.
would be a rhythm game with baseball bats.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Hey.
perfect. And then I get up and go smack somebody in the face.
Have you
Do you
played
guys play this? Do you guys play this
Power
slap
slap.
fighting championship?
Oh, it's
Power slap.
so
That's it.
good, man.
I've dubbed it now. What the slap?
It's so
the slap.
shit. It's good.
No, it's not.
It's so
It's not good.
shit.
No,
Awesome
no,
audio.
it's not. Don't say that.
Audio
Don't
It's
of
say
the
that.
so bad. I
It's the worst. There's no audio. Did you have the same thing I did? There's no audio in the game.
There's no music. It's just
No, there's
the
no.
windows.
The slap is the only thing. Like the
I
people
know.
don't say.
That's all you need.
anything.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just the slap. I
It's
thought it
all
was
about
broken.
the slap.
Did you not get the Windows shutdown noise all the time?
Oh yeah. When you knock somebody out. you go,
Yeah. That was it.
"Doo-doo-doo."
Yeah, that was all. That,
That's
yeah.
it.
Someone went to me. They went, dude, you need to stop using that sound effect. I went, I didn't fucking put it in there. It's just
It wasn't
constant.
Sometimes
This
simple is
was
better,
probably
man.
the worst game I think I've ever played.
Oh
don't-
man, no.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
loved
it was so bad. No, you didn't love
I
it. There's no way
did.
you loved it.
I loved it. I had such a good time.
But
Honestly.
he also power wash simulator. So now I really want to get into that one.
Do you know one
See how
thing?
good it
What's the one thing? Yeah,
I tried it.
I can tell you my one. It's a bit violent, but I've always wanted to break someone's fingers using knuckle dusters when interrogating them. I always thought that'd be pretty cool, just to
Ooh.
punch down on their hands. What sort of thing would you like to do in VR that you shouldn't do? Do you know what I mean? Like that. I know we can talk about a game, but maybe we no, not any of that stuff.
Yeah, know your audience. Know
Well,
your
I guess you
audience,
can.
GT.
Mrs. GT is in chat. Be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
Um,
in Grand Theft Auto.
yeah. Grand
Cop
Theft
out.
Auto is so good.
I want some type of wave race. Remember wave race or like
Yeah, dude.
I want something like that. What was the one that was on the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2? There was a jet ski game. I don't remember the name of it. It was like
There was Hydro.
was it Jet
there-
Moto or something like that?
Yeah. There was,
Yeah,
Jet
Jet
Moto.
Moto. That's like
I love
futuristic.
those games, dude, and that would be so sick in VR, man.
Hydro Thunder was good as well.
Hydro
Yeah.
Thunder.
That was good. That was good.
We don't have enough racing style games in VR. Like this, I don't know. I just want more. I
Yeah.
want more of that.
What about
Hey,
you?
why-
What about you, Wes? What do you want? What you look? What would you
I'm
like?
sorry.
Okay. What?
Don't be
Are we
sorry,
still
dude.
talking about our hypothetical game? If we could make anything?
Yeah. What would you like? What would you like to do in VR that you know?
Oh, it's the things that we can already do in VR. Okay.
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I've always, I mean, for me, I've always kind of held this kind of real world simulator as the kind of pinnacle, right? The singularity, we call it. I would want something like Grand Theft Auto 5 online in VR, something that kind of gives you limitless possibilities. It's realistic enough and close enough to the real world to immerse you, but then none of the consequences, right? So if I want to go drown a prostitute and go do lines on the counter at a convenience store, I can do that. So that's kind of where I would like to go. So someplace we haven't been yet in VR is just that kind of real world simulator minus consequences.
Sounds like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. What about you, Roots? What about you?
World of Warcraft and VR. I think that'd be it. Hardcore even. You die, your character's deleted. That'd be amazing. I just think an MMORPG, the exploration, something like Zenith, but on the level of World of Warcraft, that's actually, they've got so much depth into all the stories and quests and lore and exploring. And I think it would be really amazing. And that's why I never got into Zenith, because I want like that high level, which I'm sure we're a decade away from it. So
Yeah, there is a game I've recently played that was way better than I expected. Can't talk about it yet, but I think it might scratch that itch a little bit. I don't want to get your hopes up too high, but I'll definitely ping you and you'll hear about it when it's happening. WDVR.
That reminds me.
Oh, sorry. Go
I
on.
need to talk to you. I need to talk to you after the show today, GT. I have questions for you.
Yeah.
Specific.
Yeah, no worries, man. $10 donation from WDVR. I was wondering and curious who here on the podcast plays Ghosts of Tabor. And man, sadly it's Bradley wearing the big screen on his head. Nice. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, hell yeah. I would say me and Skiva probably have between us 600, 700, 800 hours in Ghosts of Tabor. I would say I know I have over 300. I would say Skiva's probably got a little bit more than me.
I don't ever want to stop playing Ghosts of Tabor. If I could just not work and play Ghosts of Tabor all day, every day, that would be a really happy existence for me. I freaking love that game so much. I can't even put it into words. It is one of my all-time favorite video games, not just VR games. I love Ghosts of Tabor. So yes, absolutely. I'm wearing a Ghost of Tabor hat. Wes is wearing a Ghost of
I
Tabor hat.
know, they're so
Nice.
cool. I saw Wes's
They're awesome.
earlier.
It's just such a good gameplay loop for. I mean, like there are certain people that like Escape from Tarkov. There's certain people that do not. But if you are into some type of looter shooter that is very hardcore, this will scratch that itch for you. And it's unlike anything that we currently have in virtual reality. And there is another studio that just continues to pump a ton of updates into the game. I don't think that game will ever be done. They have a new map coming already. They want to have like 6 maps by the time they're even close to being done. It's just a good loop, man. It brings you back. It's one of those games you can pick up and play for a couple of hours and then put it down and not go back to it for a while. But it is one of those games like Steve said where you could grind it every day for hours and hours a day and still not be as good as some other people in there. I mean, it's just a really good game.
If it
You know
wasn't
who else grinds it every day for hours and hours?
my mom,
yeah, she does.
Yeah, she does.
Where's
Ghost
D?
or
Yeah,
I
she
would have
does.
so much more to talk about on shows like this, because like I'm like, okay, I have VR time. Here's games I got to get through. Go more, let's go. It just like eats all my VR time up. It really does. I can't get enough of it. So.
GT, you liked it. You've done some videos in there, right?
Yeah, Ghosts of Tabor. Yeah, I don't know how many I've done. About 5, I think, maybe. For just because I'm so curious, And every time I go in there, one of my favorite things to do. Normally, if I play a multiplayer game, I like to go in with a crew. But that's the kind of game that I can go in on my own and just make an acquaintance, which is most likely. There's a massive chance they're going to stab me in the back. And I love that. I love that thing. I'm really trusting, which is stupid. So I go in there and I'm like, well, actually, most of the time, I'm pretty good at shooters. So in my latest video, my last video, I let a guy live, right? And he had no gun. He was like, dude, I've got no gun. And I think this is the best thing about the game. I'm thinking, you fucking liar. I know you've probably got a gun anyway. You're telling me you don't know how to play the game. And I was like, I've heard this all before, dude. And he was like, no, seriously, dude. And there was a guy coming to kill him. And I was like up high. So I killed the other guy and I went, right, man. Like, if you go over there, you can take all his stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he went, oh, thank you very much. So I went down, we started talking. And he was like, do you want me to show you this secret room? I was like, yeah, no worries, dude. And we went up to the top of this roof. And it took like, I don't know, 20 minutes and stuff to get there. Or whatever. And I don't know whether he shot me or another guy who come up and shot me did. I'll never know. But when I watched the video back, I was kind of thinking, did he shoot me in the back? And was that his friend? And they worked together kind of thing.
He brought you to the room.
He brought me to the room. Yeah. But I did go back to the room on my own and it was full of loads of cool shit. So he wasn't lying. There's like 2 floors with loads of stuff in it.
Watch that video again, and then after you die, look at the end screen. It should say the name of the person that killed you and how far away they were when they shot you.
Yeah.
Be able to tell who it was that whacked you.
I want to get Brad in there. Brad, you should come in with us and do a couple raids with us. Come on.
I'd be well up for doing. What's the player
I'd be
count?
well-
What's the player
I think you
count?
can only do 3 on a team.
3. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
Come on, Brad. Let's do it. You can use your big screen.
I'd
Beyond.
totally be willing. I have nothing against it. I actually wear the hat all the time, but I still haven't played the game.
Love it. Let's do it tonight. We're gonna do it tonight.
That's amazing. I'd
Maybe.
love
He's
That's
like,
so
maybe.
good. FN8's got 300 hours in breaches.
Wow. I need to get back to I still have not played the new Breachers map. I just haven't had a chance.
Oh,
to
what,
get
the
in there and do
boat?
it.
The
Yeah.
ship, yeah, it's really cool.
I haven't done it either.
Just when it dropped, things got crazy for me. It was Gamescom, and then I rolled into like moving my home. So I want to do it though. So I would be down if anybody wanted to get in and do some Breachers at some point.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Really appreciate it. So many great people in the chat. So many great names that we all know. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Snowtoad as well. Sorry, because I met them this weekend again.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, we had a coffee. And,
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
nice.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
It was nice to have a chat. We did get a donation from Parasite 82 Green. He wants a Back to the Future VR game.
Yes.
Oh,
Down.
that's sick.
Yeah, Roots and I've talked about this a lot. I mean, what other franchise could you make a narrative-driven VR game about that would be a better fit than Back to the Future? I mean, time travel as a concept in VR is something that really hasn't been done enough. And here we are with one of the best stories of all time from the world of film. If they do it quickly enough, if somebody would just do the damn thing, we still have most of the voice actors alive and well enough to actually pull the role off. Like we could get a legit Back to the Future story in VR if they would just do it now. So please, powers that be, do it now.
We live in the age of AI, though. I mean, we can
That's
just
true.
about,
That is
you
true.
could do just about anything in 5 years. You'll have everybody's voice.
But like,
Be good to go.
real talk though. Like, let's say someone does it. Okay, like, what do you actually do in this game? You know, like it's like
It would-
it's a movie.
It would have. Well, it'd have to be a spin-off adventure. Like, and I don't want to play the movie again. I know the
Right.
movie. It would have to be something that was like just a really badass story that
Pilot-
just took you on this amazing adventure. The only thing that I think would be
Yeah.
just as cool would be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Rufus is
Hmm.
back, and that'd be cool going around time. So
I wanna play
But
the-
to answer your question, Alex, it would be like Root said, it would be an adventure. The gameplay would vary. It wouldn't be something that you're doing the same thing from start to finish, but there would be stealth sections, just like in the movies. Maybe there's a section where there's a chase scene on the road, or maybe you're on a hoverboard in the future running from Biff. Like there's a lot of action in those movies. And at the end of the day, it would be a story-driven adventure game with a little bit of kind of everything in it in terms of
Maybe like a little
gameplay.
London heist, like
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
through the
That'd be cool.
scenes.
That'd be rad.
Yeah.
I'd play the heck out of that.
The only
Love-
the only way I think you can do any Back to the Future possibly in VR would be through Power Wash at the moment, because my daughter got to play the DLC on this weekend at WASD, or WASD as everyone keeps telling me to call it, but I keep calling it WASD. And it was really cool, dude, because you wash the car down and you got all the intricate pieces and stuff, and then the fucking thing sped off and it went away. And then it's turned around, and then it did the first scene from the film in Pine Mall. It did the 88 miles an hour, vanished in front of her, left the flames on the road. She got to put out the flames, and then 2 minutes exactly later, the car come back again with all the sound effects. And I was just like, this is really cool. Like, I think people are going to love that. I think people are going
Yeah,
to absolutely love that.
That would be sick.
And for the record, I think there's a DeLorean in Gran Turismo 7, and there is a DeLorean model. How's this for a callback for you? There's a DeLorean model in Technolust, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
Literally, sorry.
I was going to say, Daniel Kaz in the chat says, I want a realistic PC VR Jurassic Park survival action game. See, like, there's no question in my mind what that would be like. You know, like, that would be epic. Like, oh my God, there's a velociraptor stalking me, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, I can imagine some exciting action, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I mean, I don't have the nostalgia for Back to the Future, you know, like Back to the Future is not my franchise. I've never loved it. I've always kind of found it just to be a little,
Watch your words.
Is there any way we can turn his camera off or anything?
I know.
We just turn his camera
Watch
off.
your mouth, boy.
I'm just
Diva, you're
keeping
next
it
to him in
real.
the ship. Just reach over and punch him in the face right now.
I would watch Jurassic Park like 100 times before I watched Back to the
No.
Future.
But I agree with
Oh,
Daniel
God.
Kaz. I mean, I want that. Like, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. Like, I want both.
Yeah,
though,
there is no
Jurassic Park would be sick, dude. There's
It
a lot
would
you can do with
be.
Jurassic Park.
But it's
I mean, I
not-
like the Jurassic Park world game that we have now. It's kind of cool with the little sneaking around thing. But I want a real whole adventure Jurassic Park thing.
right. Is anyone agreeing that Jurassic Park is a better movie series
No.
than Back
Oh,
to
I
the
didn't say
Future?
series. I'm
Well, I'm
No.
just saying, like,
flagship movies.
No.
no.
Hmm.
Are you on about the very
Yeah.
first one, Alex, where the guy got eaten on the toilet and all that stuff?
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome, but it wasn't like the original Back to the Future.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably a generational thing, dude. You know, like maybe I missed the boat.
Now he's calling us old. Now he's calling us old.
I
Thank you.
mean, you know,
How dare you?
Brad, help me out here. Come
Do
on,
that.
we're the same age, aren't we?
Jurassic Park or
Brad's like, I'm not. Don't put me in
Brad's
here,
grown
Brad.
a moustache. He's now old.
I know.
and
Look at him. He's
wiser.
like 40.
Yeah.
The correct answer is
It's
Lord
eyes.
of the Rings.
What was it? Jurassic Park or what?
Back
Or
the
Back to
Future.
the Future.
I like Back to the Future more personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll see myself out.
This is the thing. Back to the Future. Anytime they did the time travel so well, you can't just throw a bunch of shit in there. Everything has to mesh together. Obviously, there's a few weird things that they've done, like or did a few things that didn't exist or whatever. But for the most part, like just for instance, Alex, when he is coming back from the past, and the guy shoots the tree, and he blows it up, right, and it explodes. Well, the mall in the beginning was Twin Pines Mall. When he comes back, it's Lone Pines Mall. You know what I mean? That changed the fucking mall. Like little things like that. They took the time to make sure that it actually made sense, and I think they did it really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I just like Jurassic Park more.
Both very good.
Yeah.
I think the Back to the Future, the Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, these are what needs to come to VR in terms of the big, movie franchises that would just go so well in VR.
Yeah.
Those are the big three for me.
See,
A Lord of the Rings game would blow the top off.
Oh,
Of
Lord
VR. A
of the
good one,
Rings,
a
man.
good,
Yes,
IP.
a good
No, I
one.
want everything. Like I want. It would
what
be
were the
awesome.
Lord of the Rings like third person action adventure games? What was that one with the guy?
They were good. They did movie adaptations for each of the movies.
Yeah, but there was
the
another...
first one was the best one. It was like an adventure game that follows you through the story. Interestingly enough, it follows the story of the book rather than the movie, even though it came out with the movie. So there's parts in the game that actually didn't make even the director's cut of the movie. But from after the first one, when they came back with the Two Towers, which was the sequel, the genre of gameplay changed. It went from becoming this adventure game with action sequences to a full-on action game that was kind of disjointed. It was fun. It was fun to play, but it was a different type of game.
Yeah.
And the third one was just like the second one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor is in
Hmm.
Shadow of War. I really enjoyed
Right.
those games. Really enjoyed that. I want to, to be honest, like if you're going to talk about this stuff, man, I just want Batman to come back to VR. Properly.
It's coming. It's coming.
I know. I've heard. It's by the guys who done Iron Man.
Camouflage.
Camouflage.
Yeah.
It better be good though.
So
That's the
do
only
you
thing that
guys
stuff
like
that.
I would love to take a step back if we can and like actually observe this for a minute, because I do feel like this is a conversation that happens somewhat regularly where like people are like, what do we need in VR? And we identify like popular IPs. And I feel like this is something that's happened a couple of times now where we've had popular IPs enter the space, like when Half-Life Alyx landed, or then when Among Us happened, or when Iron Man VR happened. You know, like these are all like massive IPs that you would expect would just like open up the floodgates and everybody comes rushing in for it. But I would argue that they've probably fallen short of all of those dreams and expectations every single time we've seen one of those happen. So do you think that like it really is this problem of like lacking the right IPs, or are the games that they're making with these IPs just not living up to the expectation of the fan base of them? Like what's happening?
I think the answer here is that there is no one answer. Like there is no one thing that's going to completely revolutionize VR and get everyone into it. It's a thing that we have to continue improving upon in all areas. And I think that bringing in the IPs is a part of that. And with regard to gaming IPs specifically, I think that the kind of concept of the hybrid game can really accelerate things a little bit in that department, because now you have games that flat gamers are playing anyway. And then when they see kind of, when they really get hooked by a game, when they see that there's another side to that game inside the headset, now all of a sudden their wheels are turning. They're thinking, well, maybe I do really need one. But again, not just with one game. When that happens with one game, and then it happens with the next game that hooks them, and then it happens with the next game that hooks them, then all of a sudden you start to build this body of evidence for things being better on the other side. But there is no one answer. There is no overnight fix for where we're going. We just have to continue to improve upon everything, and things will continue in the direction that they've been going. So
I'd also to speak to Half-Life Alyx on this one, if I could. So I'd like to point out that when Half-Life Alyx came out, when it was announced, there was no COVID, right? There was no pandemic. When it released was when the pandemic really started and got crazy. All eyes left VR, and people thought the whole planet might die. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of insane things that happened. The chip shortages were in their greatest shortage period. You could not buy an Index. You couldn't get a lot of different headsets. Quests were almost impossible to get. So Half-Life came out. A bunch of people wanted to get into VR for it and could not buy a headset. Everyone was freaking out that everyone they knew was going to die. Right. So like, I feel like the whole Half-Life bang, we kind of got screwed on that one, like pretty bad. And, I think we would have seen a lot more people enter the game if those things weren't happening. But, at the end of the day, Half-Life Alyx is probably, I would guess, one of the best selling VR games to ever exist. So yeah, long City 17 and Gordon Freeman.
I feel we're still in this phase with virtual reality. Like we need to prove ourselves. So we look for the IPs, because that is what legitimizes VR, right? If we get major IPs in virtual reality, then that makes it legitimate. Where flat gaming doesn't have to deal with that because they have all the IPs already in flat gaming. So to me, it's not like we need to have I don't think we need every big IP in the game. We need just good games. Not about having to have an IP. So, I mean, I would rather not focus on the huge IPs. It's just something we always kind of gravitate towards too, because we think if they gave us this new Wolverine game that's coming out in VR, that's a big boost for VR, because we normally can't get those games, and then we get it. So to me, it's not about it's about what the quality of games we're getting, not about the IPs. We need better games in general.
We also need more, like Brad was wearing on his head, and the form factor as it gets smaller and smaller. There's so many people I know, they just don't want a fucking VR thing on their face, man. They just don't want it. And so like we don't mind. We love it, right? But until they get it to where it's almost like you can't tell it's on there. It's why Pimax is so fucking bizarre to me at this point. It's just getting heavier and bigger. I think that's a big factor. Once they get it to really be slim, like I think big screen's probably that size is almost perfect, right?
I'm
I mean,
very excited for Quest 3. If that form factor is right, if the balancing is right, it's amazing. I think what will happen if the balancing is right. If I put that headset on and I don't feel like I've got it on, that's a massive win for me. You know, adding pancake lenses, 2K resolution, like
right.
it could be so good. It could be really good. But yeah, you're absolutely right with the crystal. I put it on again the other day and I didn't really want to wear it. Funny, I wasn't in the mood to wear it. Does that, like, that's the sort of headset you're dealing with? Does that make sense? Like, does that make sense? I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I had to be in the mood to want to wear that thing, and it's weird because I look at it, I think this looks really cool, and then yeah, I have to be in a certain place to be like, right, and that's why I don't know. I'm taking my time with it. I'm waiting for all the features to come out and all these other things, so I can give a fair take on it.
It's fair that it's big. It's still one of the best looking headsets that you'll see through the lenses, though. Like if you're, I mean, take that headset and go put Kayak VR on, man, and it'll blow your mind. Like I'm good with it if you're going to use it for seated experiences and maybe some things where you're not like moving around too much because it is a heavy, wide headset that is not super stable. But like something like for Kayak or even just playing Half-Life Alex and where you're not super like dodging or moving around a lot, I think it's still one of the best experiences when you get everything working properly. They've done a good job with it. They need a couple of things.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
it's
want
not
to
cheap.
try it. I want to try it for mini golf because I want a little more field of view, and I know it's not your typical Pimax 200 degrees, but like I can tell the difference in PSVR versus Quest with regard to playing mini golf in the field of view. So if I could get even another 10 or 15 degrees, I find that helpful in that specific use case.
Justin in chat says he couldn't disagree more. We need to stop chasing after other IPs, as in flat IPs, and we need to start creating our own. There are things you can do in VR that obviously when a game is created, not in VR, this is, I think is what he's saying, these things don't happen, like, so a game brought up in VR, ground up in VR, should be a better VR game. Funny enough though, right, in my playtesting time, it's almost like developers hit a wall of creativity in some way. Like, and when I'm playing it, I'm like, why can't we do this? They're like, something. I think they need to do both. I think there's
Right.
a good mix. If someone makes a VR game, and these are small indie devs, bless them, and they make these sort of games, there's always something I feel that is pretty obvious and could have been done, and it's not done, and it's like no one's had that conversation because they've been so funneled into working on what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, I agree in principle.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
do.
disagree. I disagree on the with regard to IPs. I do think that we need these known franchises to come into VR. But where I agree is, I feel like, and it seems like this is more and more the case as time goes on. I feel like a lot of these VR devs, and especially ones that are new VR devs, are getting too hung up on recreating flat gameplay concepts in VR. Because basically, what we have here with this new technology is a whole new paradigm for somebody who's truly creative and artistic to come up with gameplay concepts that have never been done before because they weren't possible before. And I feel like as time goes on, instead of leaning more and more into people coming up with their own ideas for games, it seems like more and more people are just trying to rip off flat games and bring them into VR, which, can be effective, especially in, the case of really good flat games. But when I see something like Synapse, which for its faults, it was limited in scope. But in terms of gameplay concept, that's what VR needs. It needs something that you can't do outside of VR.
Yeah.
We need games that are truly transformative experiences for people, and I think that's that's the direction that we should be going in terms of where our games.
So I
are
do
landing.
think that well-known IPs can help exactly what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
because there's two things that a really good IP does. The first one is that it can signal a caliber of quality. It can say, oh, here's the track record that this IP has put out. I know this is going to be at least this good. And then the other part that it does is it delivers an expectation as to what that experience will entail, what it could possibly feel like to do. You know, like if someone says, hey, guess what? It's Gran Turismo in VR, you know what is going to happen, you know, or if you're going to say, oh, yeah, it's Iron Man, but in VR, you now have an idea. I'm going to be flying around and blasting stuff with my hands. If you've never heard of Demio from Resolution Games, I can't just name drop Demio and say like, oh yeah, this game is amazing. Check it out. Like saying Demio means nothing to you. It doesn't, you don't see the dungeons. You don't see the gameplay. You don't see the quality tier that Resolution Games continues to put out because it's within our walled garden of VR stuff. So if, you know, for like if Synapse would have been, Magneto
Matrix.
VR. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Matrix.
the Matrix.
Whatever.
Yeah.
People would have had an idea as to what they could expect, and it would probably be much, much more popular. So
with IPs become the opposite though. Like you have to be careful with like expectations, right? So when you get an IP, then it's expected to be fantastic. If you don't fulfill the expectations and the game is not very good, it can hurt virtual reality as much as
Right.
it helps it. Like
but bad
Walking
games
Dead
hurt virtual
onslaught.
reality
no,
anyway.
but the IPs are even worse though.
Right.
If you have a major IP that falls on its face, it is even worse because then you get all the flat gamers or somebody who's not in VR is like,
Well-
see, this is why I'm never trying
No,
this because
that's
it's a
true.
joke.
That's
You know
true.
what I
The
mean?
point I was
So-
making is that it has, of course, it has to be good. Like everything has to be good. Anything that's not good in VR is going to hurt VR.
What?
We,
Why do
we
you,
just
Yeah,
need
it's just-
no
it's
more
just a-
no more experiences too, please. Like big IPs, I don't want to hear like, oh, this is like a taste of that fucking experience. Give me the game or don't bring it out. That is my opinion. I don't need a, you know, like a Matrix light version because it's VR. That's how I feel like with VR built from the ground up is like gameplay wise, it's from a gamer perspective of all genres, flat and VR. I feel like VR is the light version of gaming. Like the gameplay loops are very light, and we're starting to get more and more. But you know, like Gazzlers, I'm raving about a fucking rail shooter, which is really good because and it's a basic rail shooter, but their gameplay loop is better than most gameplay loops. That makes me want to go back into it. It's like you said, the devs hit this wall and they get you in the world and they think that's enough, and it's not
Yeah.
enough. We need more
Call of the
depth.
Mountain, I think, is like the perfect example of what you're talking about. Because Horizon is like Call of the Mountain is not a Horizon game. Like it is, but it's not like you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, like it's
Yeah.
not this like big open world exploration kind of situation. So I think that's a great point.
they want
Agreed.
your take, Brad. They want.
Well, from what I understand is I've actually seen some prototype games where indie companies that are in our space have actually like built out really cool demos. Can't talk about them, but every time they would go up to these IPs to try to license the IPs, the people that are in charge of that take one look at it and like, what's the volumes that you'll sell of this game?
Yeah.
And then they hear the volumes, they're like, no, we're actually not interested. And I think that's still just the realistic problem as well. You either have the quality problem, which again, brands don't want to attach their IP to bad quality concepts, and then you have the numbers problem, which VR is still.
True.
These giant companies like Disney, for example, they see the volumes of VR from even Meta and stuff, and they don't care unless you know they get a big partnership with Apple or something, because that's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
Where it's still a very difficult time, and even like it's kind of like the early mobile game boom with like Angry Birds, right? There wasn't really many IPs releasing on the mobile app stores for phones back then, but then some big titles started popping up like Angry Birds and like Cut the Rope and stuff, and then those things started to integrate brands in it, and it slowly kind of evolve. So I think it will happen. It's just a very long-term process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've got some great examples though of flat IPs that have continued to support VR. I think Resident Evil is probably the one that stands out the most. Like Resident
Yeah.
Evil 7, and I don't know why they did Resident Evil 7 back then. I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't have said headset sales were crazy when they released it. You know, it wasn't exactly like Quest 2 levels of sales. But when it came
But
out,
Sony
dude,
paid them.
or Sony,
But,
yeah, Sony paid
You
them, yeah.
you keep thinking that, man. I always thought the same thing, but I don't know if Sony gives two shits now. I really don't.
At the
Like, I
moment,
don't know if
I
Sony
don't know
cares
what,
enough to like pay anybody.
I don't
to
know
do
what
anything.
to say at the moment, dude.
Like
about
to me,
Sony.
it could be just Capcom
Right.
going, yeah, we like to fuck around with VR, so we're gonna make this in VR. You know what I mean? They got enough
If
money
that
to
was
do it.
true, if that was true, it would have come to PC VR, and it never did. I think it's because Sony paid for it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think Sony cares, to be honest with you.
But then when you have your own IP, which at least in PlayStation VR terms, Firewall is a PlayStation VR brand. It's a actual born in VR. Everyone was excited to get a sequel, you know, like, and when those games don't work, those sort of games hurt people the most. I think, you know, I'm not really sure what the hell happened to Firewall.
I do
I
want to bring
still
up one
play it
more.
more than anything.
I do want to bring up one more example because there was a time where we were kind of getting some big IPs and like big companies were like writing blank checks to get those IPs, and that didn't work out. The one title that like screams in my brain was the Medal of Honor. Like right when it came out, they wrote a blank check to Respawn Entertainment, a AAA studio, and that AAA studio released something that most
No bueno.
big indie VR studios wouldn't make some of those decisions that Respawn made. So yeah, not only are we like just not at the good volumes for these big companies that care about licensing IP, but there's still a lot to learn of what works in VR for developers in general. And AAA is actually probably still not aware of what things work in VR. And they need help from some of these bigger indie developers, I would argue. So yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters coming. We'll see.
Oh yeah,
It's
Ghostbusters.
one of the biggest IPs. I mean, and it looks damn good. So I mean, and it does come. It's coming from In Dreams, which is helpful. I think they're a good studio. That's pretty. That usually puts out good quality stuff, and the newest trailer looks awesome. So I'm hopeful. But man, if it doesn't, like I was saying when we announced,
when you say hopeful, like what I mean, because I think one thing we can guarantee with End Dreams is quality. It's going to be quality, and it's going to feel like a VR game. But what are you thinking is the thing that will kind of let you down, for example, or the thing you're most excited about, if you know what I'm saying, when it comes to Ghostbusters, for example, which is a big IP. So
yeah, to me, I think it's got to be true to the IP, but it's got to be a good game. Like I want a good game. Like I don't want it just to look. I just don't want it to be Ghostbusters in VR and like look good. I want a good, engaging game that I can get in and play. Like, I mean, it's not easy to do that. And it's multiplayer, but it's not easy to make these games that have good gameplay loop that will bring me back, that will, make me feel good about, my journey through the game. And that's what I want. That's what I want with every VR game, by the way. It's not just, the IPs. Like I want good gameplay. I like Root said with Gazlers. Gazlers is a simple ass game. There's not a lot to it, but it has a good gameplay loop. You need to find those mixes for these IPs. And like I said, I don't want to see just Ghostbusters because it's in a VR headset and everybody goes ooh and ah over it. It's got to be a good game.
I have another millennial hot take here.
Oh, don't play. If you say Ghostbusters is not a good IP, I'm going to come through the screen.
Ghostbusters is not a big enough IP for it to warrant this conversation, in my opinion.
he's gonna jump.
What?
He's gonna jump from like
Listen,
above
no,
you
listen.
down.
When I was a kid,
Listen, Sonny.
when I was a kid, if you would have asked me who you gonna call, my answer would have been Ghostbusters. I think I'm just barely old enough to like have that be like a truly sticky reference. No kid today
I know.
would respond with that.
Yeah, me and Mike had exactly
Ghostbusters
the same
is like
conversation.
dead.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
But who are we selling this to though? Because I would like to know.
40-year-olds apparently is the point I'm trying to make.
Let me ask you this: what if you looked at Meta's numbers? What are the demographics for most people that are buying VR games right now? And don't put Gorilla Tag numbers into that.
Yeah, that's free.
All right.
That's I don't know
Why?
what
Because
else to
that's the
say.
only game they play. Otherwise, it's free games. Like, let's put paid games in here. Let's just put paid games. These are the people buying paid games. They're people that are probably 30 plus years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
And they basically making Ghostbusters movies. So I don't know. I mean, there was
Again, I knew it was a hot take. I knew you guys weren't going to like it, but I would not be surprised if
You're just trying to be
Ghostbusters
controversial
just-
now.
No,
I'm
I,
not.
Alex,
you
I
said,
agree.
You said Back to the Future sucks, and then you said Ghostbusters sucks, and then
I agree with you on with this one, Alex. To be honest,
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Yeah.
The side of a good game is a game that you're thinking about when you're not playing it. Like if you go into this game and you're like, oh, it's cool, and you leave and you don't think about it again for a week, at 2 weeks, maybe you think about it when you see it in your menu. Like there's games I've been playing recently that you're laying in bed, you're thinking about the gameplay and different things you can do differently. And like, that's a really good game. That's what we need more in VR, because we don't have much of that in VR at all. Like we have a lot of really good games, but nothing on that level, or not many anyway.
I want to say my wife brought up a good point. They also released a new movie a couple of years ago, and it was very good actually. The new movie, is it Afterlife?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And before we went to see that in cinema, I showed my daughter the original Ghostbusters movie, which she really enjoyed, and she enjoyed the cinema because I don't know if I'd already seen it or I knew it was going to happen or something. I was like, you need to see the first one to understand, because you've got to love the characters. You got to understand the characters. And we watched the second one. It's good. So you never know. There might be more there, because if that newer film hadn't happened, then I'd be 100% with you, Alex. I'd be like, I don't know who's gonna want to play this, but the 40-year-olds or 38-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a ton of nostalgia from this title. I mean, it takes place in a whole different cast of characters in a whole new city. It's not even the original Ghostbusters firehouse. So a lot of that stuff's going to be stripped out of it. I think kind of what's going to make or break this title is the cooperative gameplay element. I think this game needs to be geared toward co-op gameplay in a way that, like, in order to capture Ghost or achieve whatever objective that they're putting forth, you need to have more than one set of hands on it. Like somebody needs to be holding the Ghost in the beam while another one's grabbing the trap. While another one's kind of, you know what I'm saying? It needs to be teamwork based, and how kind of detailed that aspect is, I feel, is kind of going to either make or break the game.
Yeah, and game modes, like what sort of game? Yeah,
Right.
what sort of game is it? Are we just going to head out in the car and see what happens? But you mentioned something, Roots, that got me thinking, and someone else mentioned the game I was thinking of in the chat. A game that's really good is when you think about it after you've stopped playing it. And Seventh Guest is that game for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, that's kind of intriguing, because I was kind of into that game back in the day. So I'm excited.
Oh, really? Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, I never played the original. But yeah, when I played I think it must have been early access or something. It was so good. It was so good. There's like a lamp that shows you, obviously, like you can see current times, and then if you use the lamp, you see what the house looked like in the past in real time, as you shone the lamp around. That was awesome. And then you got the volumetric capture of the guests, and then all the puzzles are based on the characters that you're investigating. It was so cool. Like I went into this magic guy's house or room, and I used one hat to put, sorry, geezer or whatever. I had like two magic hats, right? And one hat, it was like Portal. So you had to put your hand in his hat to have the hand come out the other hat to get the puzzle. But one hat shrunk your hand and the other one made it bigger or something. And there's all these different puzzles. It was very cool. And it looked fantastic. So yeah, I think Seventh Guest is going to surprise a lot of people when it comes out. So
That's good, because
That'll
I
be a
was
good
kind of
one.
worried about that game. Like I thought that I would like it, but it comes off as a game that maybe isn't for everyone. So to hear you say that actually gives me a lot of faith.
yeah, I didn't even know to be excited about it. I was just like, I saw the volumetric capture and I thought, I'd love to. I remember there was a game like on Mega CD or something called Night Trap. And I always thought, I'd be really cool. I've never really seen real people filmed in VR. And Yeah, that was the whole reason I was ever intrigued, and I got in there and I was like, actually, this is a very cool game, way above what I expected. So yeah,
Mickey Barrios doing Mickey Barrios shit in the
yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Warhammer Age of
That's a-
Sigmar Tempest Fall on Steam.
It's a good
Get
game,
it.
man.
It
He's-
is.
he's
That's
dropped
an
codes.
underrated game. That Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempest Fall.
He's been dropping codes, dude. Thank you ever so much.
In everybody's chats.
Yeah,
Like
everybody.
between realities chat and in virtual strangers chat. Like the guy
Wow.
is just constantly dropping codes everywhere he goes.
He's good.
He's like the
I
center
bet
of
when
VR.
Mickey goes out to a restaurant to eat, he leaves game codes as a tip.
I hope you have VR.
And the waitress or waiter is like, no, I want some
Yeah,
bro.
under the tip section, it's just a bunch of letters and numbers.
He's like, hold
what
up,
the-
hold up, hold up. That is a $20 game.
Miss.
Nice, dude. Nice.
Now I bring it back a little bit. I know this is kind of old news now, but I'm just getting into it, and I just have to mention it. So when I was a kid, I dreamt about having my own spaceship and being able to take off and go explore other galaxies and like just get away from everyone and just go see what's out there in the universe. And when No Man's Sky came out in VR, I continually spent stupid amounts of money to upgrade my PC in every way I could to get that game to run well in VR, right? Like I bought a 3090 just for No Man's Sky, pretty much. I upgraded my processor just for No Man's Sky. Like I spent so much money to get this game to run well. Now we have the PSVR 2 version of this game that, oh my God, runs good as if better probably than my insane PC.
Yeah.
Like what in the world is happening with that game? I know people have been talking about it for probably a couple of weeks now, and I haven't been around to scream about it on anything, but I just had to throw my 2 cents in there because, oh my God, it's so good. Like a stable
Beautiful,
frame
right?
rate, like it looks great. It like, wow, I'm just like blown away by it. So
So colorful in the OLED, man. It's just like
it's so
beautiful.
good. It's so good. And the cool thing is, if you have the PS4 version of the game, you can get the PS5 version for free, right? Which has also PSVR 2 support. So you could go on to like, Facebook Marketplace or eBay or something and pick a cheap copy up of this game and then just have one of the best VR games ever made in there. So go get this game.
Let me ask you this. Because for me, like the appeal of No Man's Sky has always been that like I can play with others and like we can get in there and explore and do things together. Is it like, am I like, I feel like it prevents me from getting in there, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. Like, is it a game that like I should just like start playing on my own and then like when I can hook up with friends? Or do you think that I could also like plan to always be with people when I play?
Well, I mean, if you're going to start a brand new game, right? Like it kind of puts you on a tutorial planet at first, almost, right? Where you are there, you don't have a ship, you don't know what's going on, and they have to like kind of put all these different concepts about like how to build things and how to find the proper resources and how to repair things and how to repair your ship to even get off the planet. If you start the game with the people, you're not going to see each other anyway, right? So like you got to be at least into it a little bit before you can fly around and meet up with each other and go on quests together. This game is like all about going and exploring the universe kind of by yourself, but then every once in a while, you tell your friend your coordinates and you beam over, and now you can go on these adventures together. And there's so many. Like this game is not how the game it was when it launched. There's now 1 trillion different quests. There's everything from being able to like to create like cities full of aliens and like and you can like bring them resources to have them like respect you and worship you, or you can destroy them and do terrible things, or you can build mechs and like vehicles or
Pets.
like so many cool things in this game, and it's so deep and so awesome.
I just want to say to Zaki, and I completely agree normally if I wouldn't have found this, but there's like a relaxed mode of No Man's Sky. So if you're looking to get into this game, right, and just enjoy basically what Skeev was saying, exploration, meeting different alien races and going to different planets, and you can play the story. There's a relaxed version of the game where pretty much everything you need is kind of done for you, and everything is available. You can't even get killed in space battles. You can't die. You can't run out of fuel. You got infinite light jump, or whatever it's called, light speed jump. You've got everything for you to just go. I'm going to go and have a good time.
It kind of removes the game and it just
Well,
I actually liked
Well-
it. I fucking loved it, dude. I got to have a great time, but yeah.
fun for
well, be
a couple hours, but it loses you as a game at that point, right? Like
Right.
me going back,
but
is I have to do all of these things. Go ahead, Wes.
but
But.
from what I understand, because I've got a lot of feedback on this over the last 2 weeks, because I basically came out and said this game is way too fucking grindy for me, and as beautiful as it is, I didn't enjoy it because literally half of the time I spent in it was busting up rocks and trees. And I
Yes.
just did not appreciate that at all. And then people came out and said, well, you can set the gameplay mode to another mode where you don't have to do so much of that, and but it also nerfs the combat and it nerfs a bunch of other stuff. So people countered that by saying, no, don't do that, just push through. After about 10 hours of grinding, it'll chill out for you a little bit. But the answer, I feel like, is what a lot of people came back to me with, is that there's an in between.
Mhm.
You know, there are options to customize the gameplay beyond just picking another mode. So you can get pretty specific with, you know, how much grinding of X, Y, and Z you want to do, and still leave combat at full difficulty, still leave some of the grinding and crafting in there. There's actually a lot of options. If
I've
you
never
know
seen so
about
many
it.
options in a game.
Yeah.
Like literally, you can change everything. Yeah.
You can make it the game that you want to be, want it to be, is the point.
Yeah.
If you know about it and can get in there and spend time to kind of tweak it and hone it in.
Is it
I
is it that
want-
deep game that Roots has been looking for?
Thank you.
Like,
I was
is
just
it-
about to say, I want
like,
Roots' thoughts on this.
Is it? I mean, because I think to me it sounds like it's here. Like everything you want is here if you decide if you have the patience to get through this game.
Yeah, I mean, from what Radio Run has even said, he's played through this extensively. This game is so good, as far as on depth wise, and there really isn't much out there in VR that's like this. Or probably isn't any. It pretty much, in my opinion, made Starfield look like dog shit, and that this was a game that Xbox has been touting as their flagship game. Granted, it's flat. I'm sure it'll come in VR. It's the big Bethesda game. But everything they described is what No Man's Sky actually has, and Starfield has almost none of it. And so, like, it's a big empty shell. It's what No Man's Sky used to be, and maybe I guess with all the modders, it'll become a better game. But why even bother? You've got the better game already in No Man's Sky. From whatever you can actually explore and take off from a planet and land on it in VR in a crisp, amazing, beautiful headset. So, like, I think this is probably exactly the game that I was describing.
If
There's just so much.
So, but are you
Yeah.
playing it? Like, have you played it? What's your experience been like?
I've played a little bit with it, and this is my problem with, and I need to actually, I guess, just do it with Wes, and maybe we do it with the show. I feel like, and we've said this many times, sometimes it's too daunting. There's so much. They've added so much to it. I feel like I get like lost in the beginning, and I just need to get in there and push through, because I know this is one of Gary's Merce Robot's favorite games,
Yeah.
I believe. And so
Yeah, No Man's Sky, like everyone would be like, "Oh, dude, are you going to cover the update?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I need to play this game for 4 hours at least before I think about
Right.
streaming it, because otherwise I won't know what the fuck I'm doing, because I haven't played it for the last 4 months." And it's like,
What happens?
yeah,
What happens when you do that is Jay Devil just shows up in your game on your stream and just gives you shit. That's what happens to me.
There it is.
that's nice.
This game should probably be talked about more for maybe the best VR game, because because of the depth that it has in it. Like to me, if you look at a lot of like lists, I don't even know if it makes a lot of the top 10 or a lot of 15 of these people's lists. I mean, I think it probably would make the top 25 of most, but some it doesn't even make the top 25, and I think that's kind of a shame.
you're
Like
you're onto something there, dude. Because I did a top 10 like 3-4 months ago, and it still gets some views, and I kind of thought, I think I might put No Man's Sky in there now, because it's that good. Like, yeah.
I still need to see. Because I need to have fun in it. Like, it's an amazing technical achievement at this point to me, but I haven't put the time into tweaking all the settings and making it into the game that I think is fun. And because of that, my time that I've spent into it really wasn't fun. It was intriguing at first, but it got to be super grindy and boring for me pretty quickly.
I really wish they do
Um,
Skyrim again.
I was
Love-
thinking about
yeah.
Skyrim while
Like a
we've been
new
having this
update?
conversation, and I felt like
Yeah.
I was going to be stupid to say it, but
Like a
Why?
remaster, you mean?
Why?
Like remaster it?
I don't know. I feel like people, because it's old and like people like to dog on it because without mods, it's shit, which I don't agree with personally. But I was blown away by Skyrim VR. And to me, it is one of the best VR experiences you can have. Huge, huge world at multiple awesome options for combat. And so many different storylines. Like, I mean, I know it's an old game, whatever, but I love it.
But without the mods, it's shit. I'm just kidding.
And when you're when you're
No,
talking
I
about
wouldn't say it's shit, but it actually does. The mods make it so much better, though. There's so many good mods for that. It takes a good game and makes it an amazing game.
And if you're talking about VR games, half of the best VR games are old games. Like 2016, 2017, 2018, like that's where half of our must owns come from. What was back then. So,
Yeah.
and Skyrim is definitely included in that.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Parasite82. He's probably gone now, bless him. He's giving me another £5 donation. He says, great show again, guys. My work at the moment is mad busy, and this helps the week go that little bit faster in a good way. Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
Oh yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank you
A
very much.
lot of why we do this, right?
We've got our sweet voices in your ear rolls while you're working.
7 of
Your-
them.
Thank you.
In
Oh my
your
talking
God,
ear-
simultaneously.
Seven at
Seven of
once.
these crazy ass.
His voice is in your ear like this. It's insane.
7 voices in your ears.
So what are you
Last-
guys? That was a very Britishy one then. Wes.
That
That's good.
was nice
That was
job.
really
Wes.
good. Yeah.
You sounded more British than GT.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
One thing
Mm.
about No Man's Sky is after 400-ish hours in this game,
Hmm.
I still almost every time I play have one of these moments where I'm like, what the hell is
Hmm.
happening? How is that a thing? I can't believe I'd ever see something like this. So after 400 hours, I still have those moments almost every single time. So I just want to say that.
Daniel Kaz says, I killed a chicken and the whole village hated me forever, but I might give Skyrim another chance someday. Haunted
Don't
by
kill the
that.
chickens, dude.
He's haunted by that. Phil Yarn, yeah, here he comes. Robo Recall. Damn, do you remember the first time playing Robo Recall on PC?
Mm-hmm.
Start just ripping them
Jeez.
apart like crazy.
This
This is how
the
how
music-
good Robo Recall is. The Robo Recall is so good that everyone forgets that it was teleport only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually had a mod where you could
Yeah.
you had free locomotion.
Yeah,
Yep.
I did a video about 6 months ago, and it had I had the Master Sword from Zelda, I had Thor's hammer, I had loads of different mods in there, including obviously smooth turning and smooth locomotion. It was
Yeah, that's cool.
and lightsabers. Oh, it was fantastic. It was so
It's a
good.
great game.
It's
Mm.
very good. He also
Wave
mentioned
shooter.
some other games as well. Fallout 4, Half-Life Alyx. All of these games are old and still destroying every new game. So yeah, interesting. Yeah. See, everyone loves Skyrim, Alex. They're all mentioning Skyrim.
That's good.
Fallout 4, I gotta mention it by name because these games, these Bethesda games, Skyrim and Fallout 4, are the only ones that ever really delivered on the promise of an open world in VR for us. Like with a fully fleshed out map that has secrets around every corner, and story content everywhere.
Yeah.
Fallout
need
4
more games
VR
like
is
that.
almost worth playing just for the intro alone, in my opinion. That intro was awesome. I had never played Fallout 4 before, and I did it for the first time in VR. And I was like jaw on the floor after the first 30 minutes of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
It's very cool. Very
Gee.
cool.
Also,
I want-
Bluebell flying in with a $9.99 super chat. Those are US greenbacks, baby.
Oh,
And she
Yeah.
says, I
greenbacks.
love getting everyone's opinions on various games. Great crew. Thanks, Bluebell.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of games
lovely.
like Starfield Roots, I want to get back into No Man, not No Man, but From Other Suns. Like we started with
Yes.
that and we kind of like got out of it. I want to get back into From Other Suns, like
I do
old
too, 'cause
classic game that's still freaking awesome.
I need to play it. I haven't
It's
played
hard
it.
as hell.
Have you never
Oh,
played it? Like I
Jesus.
didn't until about 2 months ago when we played it, and it's
GT.
really good.
I've heard
GT.
it's
Like,
really good.
like
yeah.
even today, like if this game launched today as a new game, it's better than probably 75-80% of the stuff that's come out right now.
Is it good looking
Is it-
though, or is it?
Yes,
It's
it's excellent. This game came out in that time where companies were still putting tons of money into games early on. You know what I mean? This came out around the time as like help me out, Stormland and Edge of Nowhere, those games where or Oculus put a ton of money
Yeah.
into games, or they had other companies putting a lot of money into games, and the quality of those games were so good that they're actually even better than most games today.
It's Gunfire Games, the same people that put out Remnant of the Ashes, Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is one of the best games I've played through this year. And it flat, of course, and I will be playing through it in VR, hopefully with the mod. But yeah, no, they know their gaming in general, but it was an amazing game, production wise. And I guess they just couldn't make the money to stay in VR and had to go slum it and flat. And I'm sure that if they could come back in VR, that would be amazing.
I've definitely got it because I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation at some
We
point.
have, because I know you like Star Trek Bridge Crew, and
I
it
love it.
has elements of Bridge Crew in it, but there's more shooting in it. You get to like do ship to ship battles, but then you get to like raid
over.
other ships and beam over to their ship. They can beam over and invade your ship, and you have to fight them off. You have to like manage resources because you're trying to like
Well,
get home to Earth.
Trying to think.
FTL and VR. Think of that.
Yes,
maybe when like VR dies down a little bit, calms down a little bit, around Christmas time or something, when all the game releases are done for a little bit, I might be able to jump in for a couple of days. Because it sounds like the sort of game that you don't just jump into once and leave again. Sounds like I need to play it a few times to really, really get into it.
Well, it can be difficult because like it's one of those games that you have to make it all the way through in one.
Oh,
right? Is that what it roots?
cool.
You have to make it all the way through.
Yeah.
Right?
So every run is different, right? And so when you die, you only have so many lives, and then it'll go to some robots. But once you run out of I guess beings that you can enter and take over, it's a done deal. If the aliens catch you, it's a done deal. They're trying to get to Earth before you do to blow Earth up. You're trying to get there and warn Earth.
That is a cool story straight away.
Yeah, so it's like a race.
It's really cool. And so each time you'll come up across ships, and some of them will ask you for help. Some of them they'll demand that you give them money. They'll say, they'll threaten you. And then you're like, Mash and I were like, well, fuck you. We just beamed right over there. And just...
we kicked their asses.
But here's the thing, though. As you get closer, it gets exponentially harder. Like, this is no easy game. You go over there thinking you're going to kick their ass, and there's some things you've never seen, and it gets really difficult. But what's cool is there's all sorts of different guns, right? You'll go over there and there's guns in the walls. You'll find this really cool alien gun in the captain's quarters or something. You take it back, you put it in your arsenal. And it's just done so well. There's so much to it, and it's just a very, very good game.
It sounds
You know
amazing.
who else likes to put things in their arsenal?
Yes, she does.
That was.
She's got a lot in the arsenal.
I was going to
that
go
was a
with
good
that.
one.
You know who else likes to be entered, but yeah,
She likes it too.
Yeah.
With the arsenal.
I'm pleased. I'm pleased. Very pleased. But yeah, people talking about Borderlands 2 for some reason. I don't know why. That was an epic game on PSVR. I'm pretty sure you could buy it on PC VR as well.
Yeah.
The only thing
if
that
it had
sucks
multiplayer, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. Do you think anybody will ever mod that in or something? I don't know why we haven't. Like, that was why Borderlands 2 was so amazing, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
game in general was amazing, but the multiplayer made it even more amazing.
I love multiplayer in Borderlands.
Mm.
It was so good.
In the VR version, does it not feel weird when you jump in that vehicle and there's not anybody to, like, because that was the thing. One person's driving, the other person's running the gun, right?
Yeah.
It just feels weird.
Yeah. Sure. It sure does. Is got any questions in the chat quickly before we wrap up? I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to say anything. If there's anything you want to talk about, this would be a pretty good time to do it before we get going.
Can I say something?
No.
If you kill another
Yes.
classic franchise, I swear I'm
God.
gonna have Skiva rape you right here. Right now.
I like how all I have to do is say a word and I kill classic franchises.
I know, right? He's like
Alex
Jaws
declared Back to the
sucks.
Future sucks, so I guess it sucks now.
Jaws is
Well,
a
your
terrible
opinion
movie.
that should make you feel better. Your opinion matters.
It does. Yeah, I like that. I just want to say that last Friday on Between Realities, Skiva and I had Brett Leonard, the
Oh,
writer
yeah.
and director of The Lawnmower
Great.
Man.
Great
It was an
episode, by
awesome
the way.
episode.
It was an incredible episode.
Thanks. Yeah, I think so too. And if you guys are out there and you've never seen Between Realities, I think this would be a great starting point. It's a quintessential epised, and Brett is amazing, and he has done and is doing a lot of awesome things. So check that out.
Hell yeah.
So-
And he didn't make
Everybody.
Lawnmower Man 2, so you don't have to kill him for that.
yeah, he
wasn't
just
him.
did the good one.
He just did the good one, not the shitty one.
So we need. So apparently, Michelle B might be falling asleep if we try and go all through this, but we're going to do it quickly. Thank you, Mickey Bear. Fuck's sake,
Sorry.
can you change your name? Thank you for dropping Starship Bridge Crew, Steam Key. Thank you ever so much. Definitely, I hope whoever's got that, please say thank you to Mickey. Yeah, because he's doing this stuff, and I've noticed some people aren't saying thank you. Immersed Robot. Gary asks, 128 or 512 gig Quest 3s, guys? What are you going for?
I'm going 512. I did people not learn when the 64 gigs came out and everybody said you're fine. You don't need more than 64, and then all of a sudden the game drops and you don't have enough memory. Like it. And my thing is unless it's going to keep you from getting the headset, why would you not get the bigger headset? The space.
Is it going to be
you
an
know?
extra $100? Is it a $599 for the 512?
Probably.
Yeah, that I don't. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
I
that's
don't
the
think they're gonna
thing.
price.
That's the question. That's the question. If it's an extra $100, yeah, I'll buy up to it. Maybe even 125, 150. If we're talking $200,
Mm.
250 more to get that memory upgrade, they can stick it up their ass.
Have
Because
they
I'm-
stated that the version is 128?
I don't think so.
Because what if there is no?
I said
what if,
256.
what if
thinking
the,
the
what if
same
the
thing,
499 version is
256.
512 or 256, and then and that's it? You know,
See,
what I mean?
I
It's
said that.
256 or yeah.
When I did my video, I said 256, 512. Like I just assumed that everyone was like, no, it's probably going to be 128. And I was like, is this? Hold on, Brad. You all know.
Come on, Brad. You know, just tell us.
No.
He's like it's meta.
He's like, I'm out. What do you think, Brad? What's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
Brad. Yeah.
I don't know. Memory's so cheap that like right
Yeah.
now that like I don't know, they can go literally any direction they want. If they
Right.
wanna, yeah.
It's going to
I
cost them
mean-
about a nickel to add another 250 gigabytes in.
Well,
I
like
really
some
don't
of
think
their
there's gonna be a
biggest
128.
games-
So
Like,
the
yeah,
one reason
that's
why
so
they
small.
would want to do 128 is like the typical standard of like wanting to upsell, because usually like
Right.
big companies like to have a big difference of storage size to upsell that higher model. So it's possible for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if they had 3 different versions: a 128, a 256, and a 512.
Well, this is where we was talking about the Quest Lite. So maybe that's where the 128 could end up.
Yeah.
Next up, Mr. Mists. Any thoughts on VR chat and Unity? Brad?
Say that question. Sorry, say that again.
Any thoughts
I was
on
reading
VR
chat.
chat and Unity?
Oh, the whole Unity thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been so
mean-
busy, dude. I've been like ignoring this stuff, really, to be honest. Because every time I
I-
see a tweet from them, it's crazy.
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of just been also letting it just go because I'm not who did a really good video on it. If you really want to like get a full in-depth developer opinion, is Anton Hand of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, Hand Grenades, did a long thing discussing why it's not very good for indie devs, particularly because a lot of those indie devs that actually do make around that point are going to be struggling more than the bigger players. They'll just be like, whatever, it happens. But yeah, it seems like Uni's about to make a statement anyway. Like they're
Yeah.
going to change course or
I
something.
think they're
So-
backing it up.
They did 2
Yeah.
days ago, actually.
Even today, they even something. Oh, maybe it was 2 days ago. Yeah, they backed up a bit, right?
Yep. They were like, hey, okay, well, whoa. We heard you. We're gonna change things. Give us a second to figure this out. It's basically
Yeah,
what it's
they're basically saying, "Trust me, bro." After they violated everyone's trust, they're saying, "No, it's
Yeah.
not going to be that bad. Trust us."
What the devs should do, because you can't just stop working on what you're working. Just finish the project you're working on, and then go to a different thing. I would say fuck you, Unity. That's the thing. How do you trust them now after this? Like, you know what I mean? Because they're like, whoa, it's okay, and then a year from now or 6 months from now, they really hit you again, and I don't know. It's just not worth the risk.
It'll keep changing. It'll keep changing, I guarantee, until they figure out exactly where the happy medium is, where everybody can stand what they're gonna do. But I guarantee they won't go all the way back. I just don't see them going all the way back.
Well, they can't, right? Because they're absolutely justified in changing their model. They're losing money. They can't continually flush money down the toilet. But you also can't just completely flip the paradigm without notice and just add a whole new structure. It isn't like a little thing that they've done here. They've completely reorganized how they charge these developers for using their engine. And again, it doesn't matter if it's justified or if it's fair or not fair. The way that they did it was not cool, and they've already violated everyone's trust. And whether they go back and fix it or not now is kind of irrelevant, because no one trusts them anymore, and they could go back in 6 months from now and do something completely different.
If you want to hear a great article or read a great article on it, go to XR Update. Wes wrote a great freaking article on XR Update.
Go read Wes's article for sure. It's really xrupdate.com.
Awesome stuff. Awesome.
Good job, Wes.
Did you guys see the Pico 5 controllers leaked?
Yes.
Did you
You
guys?
mean the Quest 3? You mean the Quest 3 controllers?
Yeah.
Right.
When I saw them, I was like, I'm not even going to comment. It's just no point. 'Cause it's so obvious it's so obvious to me and probably everyone who reads the comment what I'm going to write. So it's not worth even saying.
Well, it's funny, man. They're almost like Pimax. The way that they're so derivative with these things. The last Pico controller, for reference, looked like a PlayStation VR2 controller, and now this controller looks like a Quest 3 controller.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I really liked the Pico 4 controllers actually.
I do too.
Yeah, I think they're nice. I think
Yeah,
they're nice.
they were good.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Go for it. I do. It's a great headset.
I was surprised how good they were. But yeah, sorry, Steve, can you repeat that?
Oh, I said I love the Pico 4. I think it's a great headset, and if it wasn't ByteDance, it would be even better.
What a great form factor as well. Like, apart from that pad on the inside, what the fuck were they
that
thinking?
facial interface was terrible. It was like sandpaper.
What the hell were they thinking with that?
Yeah, but if
I found the audio to be really good.
Great.
Yeah.
On the Pico 4, just like the bass audio just sounds deep and bassy and nice.
Nice. There's a lot of good stuff going on in there. So we're gonna call it a wrap there. There will be no show next week, unfortunately. Things are happening, but I'm pretty sure we'll be back the week after. Is there gonna be a show
Interesting
next week?
show the week after?
Hold on.
Yeah, the week after.
There could be. I don't head to California till Tuesday, man. So we could do a show. I'm headed to Connect on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket and crash the party, bro.
You should.
There won't be a ticket. There won't be a show next week. Sorry. Yeah, there won't.
Okay.
There won't.
All right.
I'm coming.
But I will see you guys at Meta Connect if you're going to be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Big
All right.
hugs.
Alex, you're going to go? You're going to crash it?
Yeah. Obviously, they're not going to let me into the headquarters there unless I don't know, pretend to be somebody else. But I will definitely come and crash all the after parties.
Just go tell
You're
them,
gonna go,
you know
Rich?
who I am.
Tell them you hate Back to the Future. Maybe you'll get in.
Yeah. Let me go check Twitter. I've probably lost 1,000 followers.
Roots, are we going?
Oh,
going,
no.
are
Yeah, we're not going. I wish we were going.
Sounds
CES, though.
great. It sounds great. It actually sounds like it's going to be nice to meet up with a lot of people.
Mhm.
I'm pretty excited for that. But thank you ever so much to everyone in the chat for all your support, all your likes, all your comments, your donations. Really appreciate it. But more importantly, for being here at the time we said we're going to be, which is quite nice. I think, what were we, 2 minutes late? I think
Wasn't
Close.
bad.
Yeah, it was close.
it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty
Close
good.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, thank you guys, and thank you to all of you boys for being here again. Really appreciate all your time and all your insights. And we will see you all not next week, but the week after, which will be. Will Quest 3 be here then?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe no, not yet.
We might be wearing it. Maybe we'll wear it. We'll all come on wearing Quest 3 headsets.
Maybe. And everyone started
Except for
waving.
Brad.
Why
No,
I
he
don't
has
have his
to. He
big
has
screen.
to. No, he has to.
Brad
I'm
to
gonna
get
go
a
to his
Quest
house.
3.
I'm gonna go to
He'll
his
get a Quest
house and
3,
put a Quest 3 on his head.
He will. He'll get one. Right. Cheers, guys. Thank you ever so much. See you later. Bye.
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 Easy.
Bye.